10 days ago, I made a video mapping out the state of the 2024 election using polling averages from the Silver Bulletin. Now it's been 10 days, and in that time, Kamala Harris has chosen her vice presidential running mate, and they've done a battleground state tour across the nation. So we're going to go back to that polling average, map it out today, and see how this race has shifted in Harris's favor. And to do that, we'll head to our map starting in Pennsylvania. Now, Harris was up slightly in Pennsylvania when we last looked at this map. That's actually one of her keys to victory here. The electoral count 10 days ago was 270 Harris to 268 Trump. And the reason Harris was able to barely win there was because of Pennsylvania, and that has not changed. Right now, polling shows Harris at 45.9 to Trump at 44. So let's turn Pennsylvania blue. Next up, Wisconsin. Harris at 47.3 to Trump at 43.7. Now, this is notable. In the past week, in Wisconsin, Harris's polling has risen by 2.1 percentage points. So on our map, let's mark Wisconsin blue, while noting that this is a big shift. Harris seems to be growing her lead in these key states. And the same is true in Michigan. In Michigan, Harris 46.3 to Trump 42.5. Harris has risen in the past week by 1.2 percentage points. So Michigan goes blue. There's the blue wall. Now that hasn't changed from the last video. Only her margins have grown in those states. Now we're going to head south to Georgia. In the last video, 10 days ago, Trump was ahead in Georgia, and that is still the case, though the margin is very narrow. In Georgia, Harris is down 45.2 to Trump's 45.9. Essentially tied in Georgia, but that is technically a small lead for President Trump. Now it's worth noting, Georgia is a state that Biden was able to barely win in 2020. Harris is hoping to appeal to black voters, appeal to the liberal base in cities like Atlanta. So it wouldn't be a surprise if Harris was able to take the state, but it's going to take a lot of work. It's a very close state. Now we head over to Arizona. Now, Arizona, in the last video, was going towards Trump. Now, Arizona has Harris at 45 to Trump at 44.2. So Arizona is a flip from the last video. Arizona now is leaning towards Kamala Harris. Okay, over to North Carolina. Harris at 45.3 to Trump at 46.6. This shouldn't be a surprise. North Carolina has trended red the past few presidential elections. But again, a very close margin with Kamala Harris making up some ground. Okay, now we're going to head back west to Nevada. And Nevada is a key state in this prediction right here, because Nevada, in the last look at our polling, was heading towards Trump. But now, in Nevada, Harris leads 45.1 to Trump at 43.5. So Nevada is a flip for Harris since the last look at the polling. Okay, 2 states left, and these 2 shouldn't be a big surprise, but they will determine our final electoral count. Florida, Harris at 40.2 to Trump at 45.4. Florida has tended red the past few cycles, so this shouldn't be a surprise that Florida goes red. And last, but not least, Virginia, Harris at 46.9 to Trump at 41.9. Virginia goes blue. Okay, take a look. Right there is what polling currently shows where the race stands. Kamala Harris ahead, 287 electoral votes to Trump at 251. That right there is a huge shift in this election, because before the debate, before Biden debated Trump, Trump was leading by a very similar margin. And now it seemed it's flipped. It has flipped. Now Harris is ahead. Now, it's still a very close race. There are still months for this to develop, but right now Harris has succeeded in gaining a little lead, and that's the first time in this race in 2024 that we've seen the Democrats ahead. Okay, thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed because the next few months are going to be wild.